moving forward, what we have to do is we have to create our receiver for our square tubing that's going to be in there. So I temporarily supported it with that floor jack, kind of, you know, get it into the rough location so we can take some measurements and we can fabricate the steel that we need to in that location. This is our rough location for our support tubing here. This will get welded on to the other piece. It's going to go this way, and then it's going to be held in to the corner here. The corner will kind of guide it and hold it into place. We'll have two locations to install. One's going to be here and another one further back. What I do is I just get a cardboard template and then I'll put that in there. So I'll fit that in, I'll cut it, shape it, and then once that's done, then I'll make the other piece out of metal. So what I did was I did one on this side and I also did one on the other side. And our plan is to tack it all along the top there and then right there. We also had to notch our 90-degree angle iron in here. So I made a cardboard template for this side, I made another one for that side. Then what I did was I built this sleeve to go in there. Once I remove this floor jack, then we can put that sleeve and tack it into place. And then what we also want to do is we want to make sure that everything is going to be level and true. So that was also part of making the templates here is, you know, measure, cut, until the template, the shape of the template, the bottom edge is level. So at the back here, what I had to do is there's this material that they got under here, this coating, you know, protect the steel and stuff. So I had to grind that back. So I'm gonna have enough room to tack some metal in here. Now when we tore out the old piece that was in there, we damaged where the tacks were. So that was all damaged on the floor. What we're gonna do is we're gonna put another piece of metal in there, strengthen it all up, make it flat and true. As we look on the ground, this is the filler piece that I'm gonna put in there. As you see it there, is gonna go up, and then so there'll be an angle that way, it'll go flat this way, kind of follows that shape. And again, what I did was I drilled a series of holes so that when I put the metal in, I'll be able to go from the inside. I'll tack the metal, the filler piece from the inside so that it's attached, like both this and the filler metal is going to be attached well to each other. Here's that receiver just loosely kind of set into place here so we get a good look at what we're dealing with. Obviously we got like a big space because it's just loosely setting on there, but here's the idea. This is the side view. This here is on the end. That'll slide into there. And when it bottoms out, the front face will look like this all the way along. Here's a look at that patch just tacked in. First you want to tack it in and then you want to seam weld it. I put a little bit of a gap in between here in hopes that I can fill in that space and maybe even grab some metal, the metal in behind. But you always want to have a gap, right? Whenever you got a butt joint. So put a little bit of a gap in there, and then I start on this end here, I tack it all the way along, and then I'm gonna pick a side. Either it's gonna be this side over here or this side here, and then I tack that. So let's say take this side here, and then I'll tack it all the way along here like this. And then you pick another side again, and then, you know, whether you want to do the face on here or you want to do that side, and then you just do one side at a time, tack it all into place. And now we'll clean it all up, clean the metal up real good, and then we can seam weld this in. Welding in this patch here, so we're seam welding it all the way along. Everything's going pretty good here, except for now in here we've got some problems here. So we'll take a look inside. We'll show you what's going on there. As we look in from the inside here, so what happened was there was a transition which changed here. So you can see where the body metal came up and then it laps right here, and that's where it's getting tacked along. Well, in here it doesn't get tacked along like that anymore. What I've done to remedy this is that I just made a 90, and we're gonna put some steel in there. We'll tack it on the inside here, and then on the outside we'll be able to get some weld and get everything welded up real good there. And then in this corner piece here, where you can actually see a pretty big hole going on there, so what I did was I just built this piece in here, and again I'm just going to tack weld that into place, and then on the outside we can weld it to this metal here. Here's those two patches welded in. I'm just going to tack those in. I don't feel the need to seam weld them. Tack them in real good. We can see that one there. I could get a small tack on the bottom here, but I couldn't really get up underneath it here, so I just got a little bit on the top, mostly along the bottom where it needs to be. Then over on this side, I just kind of tack both ends here and here, and then top and bottom. This support metal will help with that final bead that we got to put in there. We're tacking in our receiver, and there's a couple things to think of. We got our gap all the way around, which is good. We ended up with a little more gap there than what we wanted, but sometimes that's what happens. Just got to deal with it. We could be satisfied that the bottom with that weld is true from front to back, but it's open in the top, and we want to make sure that we keep that true. What I did was I put the C-clamp in here with the two pieces of scrap metal up against the side of the square tubing. That's supposed to represent our clearance, so when we take that metal out of there, this square tubing will slide in and out of there nice and easy. It won't be too tight. And also with that clamp like that, this horizontal piece should be true from the bottom to the top. We want this to be 90 degrees. We want this vertical to be level. We want the bottom to be level. We're gonna want this bottom down here to be level. We're gonna want that corner to be a 90 degree. We can't work off of anything up here because those aren't true corners. Now over on this side, what ended up happening was, again, we have our clearance in here, and I put a piece of metal. I just got this piece of metal in there to keep our clearance. We tacked it down here to start with our clearance. And then what we were doing was we were adjusting the piece for level. And what it ended up happening was when I put this tack on here, because of that clearance, it tightened it up too much, and then it threw it out. What I had to do is I had to cut the tack, and then I put a piece of metal in there to keep the clearance so it wouldn't close up when you welded it. Now we should be pretty good now that we've got our couple of tacks in and everything is solid, but we still, don't want to go overboard here. So what we'll do is we'll continue to throw some tacks all over the place, and then we'll seam weld this in. Got it all seam welded in, and one of the next things we need to do is, this is basically the bottom of the fender. So what we need to do is we need to get a piece of metal to go across here. So this is all attached in here. So I plan on getting a piece of metal, bring it over, attach it to that, and then another piece that'll be hooked onto the bottom of the fender here, and then bolted it together right there. It turned out not bad. We had some gap to fill in there, but it worked out for us. It wasn't that bad. We got the other side all welded in too, and then we'll work at the other side at the back there after we got that patch in. Now that we got that patch finished, we'll figure out where we want to put this, and we have to make this match the one in the front.